let's focus on this 6 to prepare the midtone of your skin tone, the midtone of your face. But of course you will need white to make a little bit lighter, of course, but also other kind of colors already produced by Intense. And I'm used to have this as a base and other colors, for example, swamp green, for example, periwinkle, okay, and other different colors, or for example, bull's blood, it's really good. And I use all these together with other colors, but the other colors I will use only for overlayering, just to change a bit the tone of the premix midtone. In this way, you will have the same midtone, but just overlaying with other color, and later I will show you how. But in this way, you will have a basement, a really solid base of your skin tone, and you work layering over this skin tone. In this way, you don't put a new color, but you just change the color on the first layering. In this way, the shading will be more soft and more close to the reality and less plastic. Another benefit of concentrate yourself in only 6 tones is, doing realistic stuff is not easy. And you work for hours in small pieces, and it's just behind the corner. You can have some problem if you are not really able, or if you're just making practice about it. And especially at the beginning, can happen that the customer come back and look at here, maybe just a little piece is gone. Maybe around the nose, maybe around the lips, and in this way, it's not hard to find exactly the same tone. Exactly the same tone you use, and in this way, everything goes easier. Because if you try to touch up with the wrong color, when he gets hit, of course, it will be different. In this way, this is another benefit of this, because you have only 6 tones. About what you are doing, and in this case, it's really easy. I'm really proud of it because it's exactly what I use. Also, before do this set for Intense, I was premixed using Intense, of course, but I was premixed the same colors, And when I had the opportunity to talk with the owner of the Intense and talk about this idea, for me it was an honor, of course, but more because it's exactly what I use. More because I know this kind of, this only 6 tones can help everybody to find a way to do, in order to do a good skin tone. That's why I'm really proud of it, not only for my name on the bottle. This is the foundation skin. I named this Pelle, in Italian means skin. Okay, and this was easy to find a name, it was exactly what I was looking for the foundation. Okay, just 2 words more about this Pelle. Should be easier, the right way maybe would be not mix this with white at the beginning. When I paint, I don't have any Pelle foundation, but I start from dark color and I mix it with white. But on the ink for tattooing, it's easier to find the foundation already pre-mixed with white, in order to have exactly a foundation clear and easy to use. Because it's easy to go from light to dark, it's not easy to go from dark to light in this case. That's why I prepared this kind of foundation. The other one, the other is Tufo. This is a sort of ochre yellow, okay? I named this Tufo because there's a special stone we have in Italy, in South Italy, is exactly the same color. And this is very important for a skin tone, because this kind of colors make skin tones bright and more real. Not like dead skin. This and magenta is really important for give life to your skin tone. I prefer use ochre yellow, this kind of ochre yellow named Tufo, because instead using normal yellow, because this is not so bright. It's bright, but not not too bright. Because if I would like to mix a normal yellow or something like golden yellow or lemon yellow, something like that, the risk is to have a not close to reality skin tone. With this, you can have a little more opaque, and that is more close to the reality. The other one is Matone. Matone is, I use this and this in order to use orange and yellow, okay? Because this has the same characteristic of, the base characteristic of yellow and orange, but as I told you, it's not so bright. They are a little bit opaque, okay? And as I told you before, again, some people has a skin, some people's skin goes through yellow, and then I mix a little more Tufo. Some other goes a little more into orange, and so I prefer to mix some of this. The other really important color is magenta. Magenta is, of course, the primary colors, and is one of the basement of the skin color. And also with this, you can add a little more of this when you go, for example, through the nose or here, because you give more, the colors you are creating with a little bit more this is more warm. Okay, looks like blood around, you know, but you don't have to see it too much. It will be just a little different between around the nose or around here compared, for example, to here. Here is less magenta. In this part here is more magenta. So if you see your skin tone a little bit too cold, you have to put a little bit, just a drop or just 2 drops of magenta in the same mid-tone you create. The other one is Terra di Siena. Is the name? This name is really common on painting, and it's exactly the same color. And this is really useful for to make your skin tone base, your mid-tone a little more powerful, a little more dark. Okay, mixed with this, of course, also with the other, give a little more power and make your color more consistent. The other one is Ombra. This one is like a pelle but really dark. You know, in this case here, I put into this a little bit of blue. Why this? Because as you can see here, mostly are into red, into orange. And if you don't use a special brown with a little blue inside, you will not have a bright result. Because as you know, probably, orange is the opposite in the color wheels of blue. It's the opposite of blue. It's a complementary colors. And so if you put a little blue into this brown, when you put this close to the skin tone, and every skin tone goes into a little bit to orange, your skin tone looks a little more bright. And so you will have, again, not a dead part of your skin tone, but also in the shadow will be bright. And the name is Ombra because in Italian means, in English you can say shadow. It's the same word. The translation is Ombra. For example, if you have to do big pieces, and you have to create, you cannot do in just one session, of course, and you have to create the same colors many times. In this way, again, it's easier to find again the right mid-tone and the right shading and everything. And this make you, allowed you to be consistent in your work. And every session you will use the same tone without become crazy looking in the middle of your big wall with a lot of colors, you know. Now I start preparing the skin tone. In this case we have a lot of white and a lot of contrast with the red part. And I will start with prepare the mid-tone. It's almost white, but it's not really white. It's going into our palette tone and a little bit in yellow. And I start from white in this case. So I prepare more than one cap as a mid-tone in order to have enough mid-tone for all the tattoos. And so I put 2 caps of pure white because I will contaminate one first and then the other, and I want to have every time one clean. Okay, these 3 are prepared for the mid-tone. So now I take Pelle, as I told you, is the basement, the foundation for our skin. It looks pink, but it's not pink. There's a little blue into it. Of course, I have to be careful and try to do exactly the same. Then I can see a little yellow in the mid-tone, in the reference, so I will put, as I told you before, I don't put directly normal yellow, I prefer to put tufa on it, a little less saturate with yellow. There is none on the skin tone, there is no matone, there is not orange. There is just a little bit around, so I prefer a cap with this, just for overlayering on my mid-tone. Magenta is really important in this case, because around the eyes, around the nose, there is a lot of magenta. In this case, if you see, I'm like you are seeing right now, I'm in my mid-tone, I'm not putting all my set, but I will use all my set for overlayering. Sometimes it's not needed all the colors into the mid-tone, but it's needed all the colors in all the picture. Now I try to mix a bit. Okay, the middle is okay, just a little bit too dark. So I will put a little bit more white. This way now I have 3 caps with the mid-tone. Probably you will not see this color on the picture, because in some parts it will be more into white, in some other more into magenta, in some other part more into yellow, but this is like a basement for all the portrait, and you must be good enough to recognize this color in the picture as a basement. Okay, in this case I will start from the background, just to prepare the shape of the face. So I start from this side here. To tattoo all this part, in order to have this part perfectly out, you know. This is a real boring part of the tattoos, but it's really necessary, you know. Today I'm doing this amazing piece of art of Michael Hussar, one of my favorite painters, and of course I asked him if I can reproduce some of his piece of art, you know, because I suggest to everybody, every time you want to reproduce some picture from other artists, it's better ask the permission in order to don't use without it, you know, it's not nice. And I love this piece because it's a really deep, really powerful piece, you know, really expressive eyes, and I love this piece. If you do the skin tone before, you can take the risk that this black can contaminate because the pores of the skin is open, you know, and if you do first the skin tone, it's easy to contaminate it with this black, this power black here. In this case here, I like to take care about this unfocused area. It's really important to give the right depth in all the image. This is a 3-liner. Just I don't really do line. I just make some sketch, just really fast. I just want to put all the information I need on the skin, you know. I will go later to do it better and because it's not necessary now concentrate on details. I just put all the information about the picture, and then I will concentrate step by step everywhere, you know. But now I just want to put in the right place, for example, the nose, the eye, and everything. Now I'm using a washed magenta, because magenta in this picture is everywhere, and so I can use it. This part here is a really important do line, but just really fast, you know, because if you do line, you will never cover it, you know. It's really hard to cover a line with a solid color. You will always see the line. In this way, you just scratch really fast. I'm using a 3-liner doing this because it's a really fast needle, you know. You can move your hand really fast because there is not much. If you have more needles, the skin goes down before. In this way, the needle goes really fast into the skin. Now I start making the darker area, just to make a little better the shape of the eye. Also now I'm not doing too much lining, you know. I just do shading in order to do everything more soft. Because if you do line this part here, the risk is to have too shaped, you know, instead of having a really soft edge. To do this, I'm using a 7 mag, and I use magenta with brown. I don't want to have the maximum saturation right now. I just want to build the drawing, the tattoo. I just want to build it step by step. Because if I completely saturate the first layering, I cannot come back again with other colors. But in this style, the most important thing is to layer a few times in order to have really soft shading. For example, if you need green, I don't put directly green, I put ochre and blue. This is the concept. This kind of tattoo is made step by step. You don't need to rush to see the finish step. You know where you start, you have to know where you have to go, and you cannot jump from one step to the other. You just take your time. Now I'm using a 15 mag. It's more soft than 7 mag, of course. As you can see, I cannot saturate. I just pass really fast. It's like spraying in the skin, you know, it's not. This style is a little slower, but the result, in my opinion, is quite more soft and quite more realistic. Now I'm just setting the volume of the face. Brown and magenta I'm using. And I want to put on the skin all the volumes there is in the picture. And then I will think about make more solid color and everything. You cannot break the skin at this stage, because if you do it, you have not other opportunity to put other layer, you know. That's why you have to do, you must work really soft. I used to work mid-tone to dark to light, but in this case around the eyes are really dark color compared to the white color in the light. Every time I do a tattoo, I'm not do anything in like mechanical every day, every time the same kind of work. Every picture suggests me a solution, suggests me a strategy to work more comfortable. Now I start with my mid-tone and I mix it with a little bit of sienna and magenta, and I start make the shape of the cheek. Again, here I don't want to saturate directly. Now I mix my mid-tone base with a little bit of magenta, a little bit of matone. Again, it's better to not start with dark, because I don't want to put directly the darker color. I want to put before a mid-tone in order to make later the darker under the mid-tone. In this way you change the mid-tone. You are not putting dark color directly in the skin, but you are changing the color you already put on the skin. Again, mid-tone, sienna, magenta, a little orange, matone. As you can see, if you combine the right way this color, you can have every kind of tone, you know, every tone you need. For example, here I need more into red, so I put more magenta and my mid-tone. Here is a little bit more into orange, and so I go into matone. And I go straight with this. Here is a little bit more into orange, and so I go into matone. And I go straight with this. This area here is used to be under the shadow, and so start with magenta. This is brown magenta and a little bit of mid-tone. If it's too light, I just push it a bit here, and the green. Again, green. I'm using green right now because it's almost red, the nose. And as I told you before about the blue shadow, the brown, blue, now I'm using green because I have more red and less orange. Green is the opposite on the color wheel of the red. To don't damage the skin. Because it's really easy, because you work for hours and hours in a really small piece. And so The risk is behind the corner. Here are two different volumes in this nose. In this picture here, it's really emphasized the difference between the area around the eye is really red. But also in the normal portrait, if you train yourself to find out that the real color, you will see more red in the top of the nose, more red around the eyes. It's a good practice to watch a lot of pictures, even if you don't need to tattoo, just to train yourself and watch a lot of pictures and try to understand where is this small difference of colors. As I told you, in these pictures really emphasize this fact here. You know, the nose is really red. Now magenta, a little white and red. Don't be afraid to do the darker area really dark, because there is no light if you don't put the really dark shadow. The two things are really connected. And the darker you put the area and the darker area, the lighter will be appear the light area. I do this part here with the brown magenta. I put ombre half and half with magenta. In this way I have a really warm brown, and it's perfect in this situation here. I suggest to follow the most that you can the colors, of course, of the reference, especially when you do some painting from other artists. You know, it's not nice to change the colors you decide. So the more you can follow the reference, the nicer it will become. Now I mix magenta and green in order to have this, to make the green a little more dark. I go into magenta, orange, and a little bit of my mid-tone. It's not really a mid-tone, this is a little light, but it works well. Again the same tip, magenta, orange, white, a bit of this. And you have this kind of violet, exactly as the reference. I want it a little lighter, so I go into the white directly. You know, you have to know the color that you have on your needle, on your tube. Now I need this, but a little lighter. I go directly into the white and maybe into this for mid-tone. And so I got the same color but a little lighter. Let's take a liner. Okay, with the liner now I'm going to do some details here. I don't use black here, I use brown. I put ombre and magenta in this, half and half. It's really dark but it's not black. If I put black here, I get the same value of this, and it's not correct, you know. You always have to take care about the value of your colors. Also here, it's really important to give the volume, you know, because every part of the of the face. When you do realism, the most important thing is take a look at the volume. Now I'm starting put the darker area in this part here, and as I told you before, I'm just changing the color of the ink I put before. You know, it's not new color. It looks like new colors, but it's overlaying. It's overlaying. I overlayer under the color I put it before. I do that because if I start from the darker area and I go from dark to light, the result, in my opinion, it will be too plastic. But in this way, everything is more soft, you know, and I prefer this way. It's like an oil painting, you know, when you I don't know if anybody use the oil. There's many different techniques in paint with oil, but one of these is working by layering, you know, waiting that the canvas will be dry, and this is almost the same, you know. You just put your color, your new color, under the other color. So now I have washed the ink. Remember, you can wash the color only if you put a solid base. Because in order to have a long-lasting tattoo, you cannot do the first layering with the washed color. So first it's better to put a solid color, and then the overlaying you can wash just a bit into the water. So when you have a normal red and you want it more strong, more deep red, just put a little bit of magenta into it. If you want the red more bright, just put a little bit of yellow. I don't care if I go also in the lightest area, because later I will go with light to dark, and I will cover this part. It's not solid right now, it's just shading. I do some wrinkles here. I worked a lot in the nose, so I want to change my machine, because until now I used the 0.35 needle, and now I'm gonna use a 0.30. It's more soft on the skin. At this stage, when I want to overlayering and overlayering again, it's better to use softest needles. So I slow down the speed, and I slow down the power when I do this. Also in the eye I do the same. I use this kind of pink as a mid-tone, and then I will go over it with magenta. So this is just the base. I go with magenta, and I do just some shading, and I give the roundness of the edge. I start making the lightest area, and I go also over the darkest area I did before, with no problem. I just complete my saturation of the skin. As I told you before, I don't saturate the skin at the first layering. If I do this, you're fucked. You cannot go over with other overlaying. So it's like if you have a spray bottle and you spray on a piece of paper. If you go this way and you spray, you broke the paper. But if you make open movement, a big circle, you cover all the area without damage the paper. And exactly the same is on the skin, you know. The skin is really elastic, is really, but it's also really easy to damage it. But in this way, it's just like spraying ink. It's not the last layering, you know. I just put my mid-tone there, but later I will go on. I will go over with white. That's why I told you before the mid-tone is really important, because using the mid-tone you can go darker, but you can also go lighter, you know, and in this way you have a lot of opportunity to change the color, but not only change, and also to put different color and create different color directly on the skin. That's why now I'm putting this mid-tone I prepared at the beginning. It's like this part here. But later I will go over this with white, and I will mix white with this mid-tone, and I will create another kind of tone directly here. For example, here in this part here, a little bit of more yellow is needed, you know, and so I just go into tufo. I push into the water, and then I go with a little yellow. But again, in this way, it's not like put directly yellow, directly tufo. I'm just changing the color of the mid-tone. This is the main concept. If you compare now the tattoo with the reference, it's darker here than is in the picture. But I don't care about that, because I know that it's not completely saturated, and I have to go back with white. And the white will cover when there is not color, and will cover this part here. And then when I will do the highlights, will be more bright. Now I'm putting the white. Remember, using the skin tone sometimes it's hard, because the blood comes a little out and change a bit the tone of your colors, you know. Don't care about this, just wait a bit and let relax a little bit the skin, and then you can go on. When I start using skin tone colors, a few years ago, I was afraid, you know, because when the blood come out, completely change the tone that you are putting on the skin. And if you don't know what's happened, you think, okay, did I put the right color or not? Just wait a bit, and you will see the right tone you put on the skin. Now this stage is really is the funny part of the tattoo, you know, because in this part here you really feel that the tattoo is really becoming nice, you know, because with the lightest area the volume is closed. It's not finished, but starts closed, you know, and this is the most the nicer part of the tattoo, the most funny part. And it's easier, this part here, compared to the other. But as I told you before, if you don't do the first layer in the right way, in this part here you can destroy the skin. So be careful in the first layering. Less than 1 millimeter, really, really soft. I just touch the skin. I don't push at all. You can see now I put the lightest area. It's not the last, but now I can go over with, for example, some magenta and my mid-tone. I have this kind of pink or purple. In this moment you can do better the volume. You just scratching the skin before, you know. Now I can give more value here and volume. It's easier because I put all the information before, and now I'm just doing it better. And exactly when you do paint or airbrush also, you know, you just do layer by layer, and you do you do more volume. Every layer there is more volume. Every layer there is more details. But every information you already put in the first pass. Now we are just making it better. As I told you, there is many different kind of painting. Of course, what I'm talking about is overlayer painting. You know. Okay, now I want to wait just to let relax this part of the skin, and I go with white over here. It's almost white. Okay, before using it, I want to fix this shadow here. It's kind of brown and orange, so I put my matone. I push matone. I got matone and brown ombra, and it's perfect. And I go directly to overlayer the part I did before. Again, matone and ombra. In this kind of work, you have to be patient. You don't. The big mistake is to, if you want to see directly the works finish. You know, I want to see the eye finish. I want to see the nose finish. But this is a mistake. You know, you have to wait and go down slow and slow, and create and construct it step by step, really slowly. You have to know where you have to go, and you have to know every step you have to do in order to do a really good work. Only in this way you can do something really different, something smooth, something really delicate. It's clear when you I suggest to do this kind of pieces in more than one session, because in the second session you can spend other 5 hours if you want and put new details, more saturation, more realistic effects. But of course you need to have the same colors. If you don't have exactly the same colors, the same mixing of the same tones, you can destroy all your work, you know. And so that's why again it's easy to concentrate yourself in just six tones. Over here, you know, step by step I'm going closer exactly the colors of the reference. I want just to do it a little bit more powerful, because you know the skin is not canvas, and this needs to be forever strong. So in order to do this, in order to achieve this, I want to put a little bit more powerful color, a little more solid and more bright, just a little bit. Be careful. I do the same also when I do normal portrait, but in this case, in that case, when you do normal portrait, for example, portrait of families or something like that, it's very important to don't change the atmosphere of the tattoo compared to the reference, because you can pump up a little bit the colors, but be careful. Don't do it too much, because if you do it too much, the risk is to make too poppy, too not so real, you know, and change the atmosphere of the photos, of the reference. Okay, I'll almost finish with this part here. And you see, I can switch. I can do lightest, darker, lightest. There is no problem. I like to switch from light to dark color. There is no problem. You have to remember that you cannot saturate the skin because the maximum saturation must be done just in the last layering. The last layer will be the ones you will have the maximum saturation. This is a 7 liner. Okay, now I go with a 3 liner. Yeah, because now I need just a really fine line over here, just to close the shape of the eye. I don't do exactly a perfect line because it should be not realistic, but just a shading, really soft, but made with this needle. Looks like a line, but it's not so strong line. I do the same here, and also in the upstairs. Cool. Now I take a clean needle, and I'm going to do the eyes.
Why clean needle?
Because I don't like to wash the needle. In this way, you can go directly with the color you need. I will use a clean needle also for a white, for a pure white. Okay, this eye here is a little more into gray and yellow, and I just put this little tuffo, and again blue. I get this. It's almost the same. You know, these small things make the difference. You know, if you can be really, if you pay attention of these details, this little, for example, here there is a little green. This makes the difference. You know, like when you take care of every details, every little different color. In the end, all these small difference, put it together, make a really good tattoo compared a medium tattoo. Okay. Now it looks a little bit more into pink compared to this, but I have to put the pure white, and I will do it right now. Let me check a bit. I want to make a little more roundness in the eye to make it more real. And so I will use a new needle, 7 mag. I don't want to waste time in washing needles, you know. In this way you can use many different needles. Okay, just a little bit of tuffo and a little bit of our mid-tone we prepare at the beginning of the story. I don't push at all. I just make some stretch. Remember, the eye is a ball, and you must recreate the volume of the ball. Again, a little bit of tuffo. Go into with yellow. Now I go with
Without washing, I had 2-4 in my tip, in my needle. Without washing, I push into the mid-tone. So a little lighter. I leave this part in the middle without color because I want to put a really clean white. Yeah, I'm using the other kind of mag. It's a 030 instead of using 035. But just for a second. Okay. Now I can see a little bit of blue there. I will put it a little lighter. Also here, but I prefer to wash a bit. When I do this kind of overlaying with the totally different color, I prefer to wash every time the needles. With I put blue, I just push in the water, and then I go. Okay. I want to fix a little bit better this part here, to close a bit more. As a last thing, I do the snow white opaque. It's a really solid white and clean. I want that really clean, and so I do it for last things. Because otherwise, in the other case, every kind of color there is no problem if it looks a little dirty. Maybe it's also better, But when you use white and you have to have this kind of white here, you cannot take a risk to contaminate it. Now we are at maybe the last layering, but every step by step, I am a little bit softer. I have to be softer and softer. In this way, I reduce the risk of damaging the skin. For example, now I cannot no more use the lining needles here, because for sure if I do some details here with the lining, for sure I will destroy the skin. Now I'm working softer with my hand, but also it's a little slower, the machine. In this part here, I left clean this part here of the nose because I want to use the white in two ways. Now I just shading with the white here, and then I will go with solid white with another kind of needle to have more bright light just in one spot. But we have to decide first where is that spot, and don't put any ink there. I always use Snow White opaque to finish my work. It's the last power in the tattoo. And remember that the whitest area, the white spot, is really important. Don't put white everywhere. Just put exactly where the white is, because if you put white everywhere without thinking, the risk is to change the point of the light, and in the end you change the volume and you make everything wrong. In this moment I just finish everything, and then I will go into every part to see if there is some difference, if there is some touch-up to do. For example, this part here, I need to go into with the little tuffo there, little mattone also. But I will go with wash the ink. There is no problem now to use washed ink because there is a solid ink on the on this step. There is solid ink. You can go over with the washed ink. Look at here, 2 for orange, and I go there. I think it's important because it makes sense to hold the red in the face. It's not needed too much, it's just a little bit.
So you're kind of framing the piece now with the red?
Sorry?
You're like framing it?
You know, there is a lot of red in the face, also because we have a red background. So if I put just a bit, it makes sense to have all this red on the face. It's not necessary too much, you know, just a bit, it's enough. I'm now putting the white with this needle, and compare with the white I put 5 minutes ago, looks more bright. Because first I did a sort of shading, you know. Looks white, but not so bright compared to this. It's a way to use the white, you know. If you have your eyes read always white, but it's two different kind of white, you know. One is with the magnum and is really looks like soft. The other one is a lining and looks really, really powerful. For example, here I can do like this, and then you put this. Look, the white looks more bright. I do this and this. Also here, I can do a line really fast. So I got white, but not so bright. And if I put this, looks more bright. Going here, I do first a shading, and then I put the spots. You know, I'm using the same white, but in this way, it looks, in some part, looks more. It looks like it comes out. Yeah. Okay guys, this is the end of the tattoos after 4 hours. This is my way of using my set of ink. I hope you enjoy using it. Thanks to Intense to give me the opportunity to produce this ink set, and hope you enjoy it. Thanks everybody.
Tripping